Praise the Lord and welcome back to the Apostolic Church of God. My name is Brazier Adams and we're back this week with round 2 of the question of truth. This special conversation developed by our pastor, Dr. Byron T. Brazier, is an important discussion to help equip us with the tools necessary to journey through life as it relates to the things of God. Joining us for this discussion, we have Michael Thompson Jr. as a graduate of the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign and the United States Marine Corps Officer Candidate School in Quantico, Virginia. Michael earned his Juris Doctor from the University of Illinois Chicago School of Law. He has managed federal and local government grant funding for workforce development and contracts. Next up, we have Asia Bailey. She is the graduate of Alabama State University, where she received her Bachelor's of Arts degree in communications, specializing in television and radio. Since her graduation in 2020, Asia has worked as the media director for the Alabama State University's football team, the United States Football League, and currently works as the social media manager for 2 major organizations. Next up, we have Amber Lofton. Amber is a graduate of Illinois State University, where she earned a Bachelor's of Arts degree in theater studies. She then attended Benedictine University and received a Master's of Public Health. Amber currently works as a student advocate and enjoys being able to help children become successful in and outside the classroom. And rounding out our panel, last but not least, Kevin Huff. Kevin holds a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in Marketing and Management and an MBA in International Marketing and Strategic Thinking. As a senior banker, Kevin specializes in personal and commercial clients. Welcome back, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys for coming back for round 2.
Yes.
Yes. Had to do it again. Yes.
Yeah. So we thank you guys for being here, because these are important conversations we need to have, and you never know. Someone watching, some of the viewers, they may have the same concerns. So this is awesome dialogue that we're having. Thank you guys for coming back again. So let's jump right into it. We ready?
Yes.
We're ready.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So the first thing I want to know, for those who may not understand what it means to have a relationship with God, can you define what that may look like?
Essentially, what does a relationship with God look like? What do you do in your daily life to build that relationship with God?
Sure.
Yeah.
It can be however, you may want to answer it.
I mean, again, I think we talked about this a little bit last time, that sort of personal relationship. I think all of us, we may go to church, we may go to Bible study, we may be a part of the choir, but there are certain things that we do in our personal time, in our spare time, that helps to really create that connection just for us, right? And so for me, sometimes it's just sitting and meditating and thinking about the gifts that I have in life and the things that I hope for and how I can be a better person.
I would definitely say that responsibility, make it more of your responsibility to make the time with God, with prayer, with meditation, and helping yourself not look at that as an errand, as a task, because that tends to fall down lower on your list of things you like to do. So, yeah.
I think having a relationship with God kind of has to do with not just going to church and doing the act of it. You have to have a conversation with him outside of church. Every day I set aside time where God and I have a conversation, no matter what time of day it is, we have a conversation. And just like any relationship, if we call ourselves friends and I don't reach out to you or I don't have any communication with you, how is that really a relationship? So I kind of look at it like that. I talk to him, he speaks to me in different types of ways. But going to church, for a minute I thought, going to church, cool, I got a relationship with God, that's it. I just go to church and we're good. But I think taking it outside of going to church, you have to actually build a relationship with him, talk to him, and communicate with him, and he'll communicate back to you. So.
Okay, yeah. So Asia, how do you feel about that? When some people say, well, I go to church, but outside of that, what would you define as a relationship, having a relationship with God?
Yeah, just like everybody else said, it's something that's very personal. And also it's one of those things where it's whether you're in a career or a relationship, you have certain things that you look at or goals or things that you look up to that you want to achieve. Yeah. So I know one of those things is on TikTok. On TikTok, I see people all the time, they wake up early in the morning and they're journal, they read their scripture, then they journal things. So I'm starting to kind of like mold my way into that, pick and choose from different things, just because, again, my relationship with God is growing in itself. And so I'm really trying to figure out what works for me and what doesn't, like within like my career and my day and time. So what I do now is, before like I go work out in the morning, I'll like get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and I'll pull out my Bible and I'll look at something and I'll think about what I'm trying to do for the day.
Is that every morning?
Yeah, every morning.
Wow.
And so I pull out, along with my affirmations that I do in the morning time, I also just like I jot down little things I want him to strengthen me with. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I know it's about to be a long day, a lot of meetings, like give me strength for this. Or I'm struggling with this, give me insight for that.
That's a good point. Good point. So if having a relationship with God is a personal one, then why do you think attending church and being active is so important? Like, is that really necessary? If you already have a relationship, why do you think you need to go to church then?
I'm gonna say for like educational needs, like you have to learn. I mean, you can read the Bible, you can understand, but why do we go to school? We have to learn. So I personally say go to church, 1, to receive the word and to be fulfilled, and 2, also to serve. I feel like when you're in the church, you need to have a purpose to serve. You can't just go to church and just be like, well, okay, I'm at church. Like, we're here to get his word out. So what am I doing to better get his word out? How am I coming to church and how am I serving? Not to say that I go to church every Sunday, but still, I personally think I go for that reason.
Kevin?
Yes, I would say I agree with you wholeheartedly with that, just because going does put that effort for you to meet other people, share your faith, and then also fellowship. So it's always a little easier to say, oh, I have God in my life, but not like a few people in the world, or not like some people at your job. But it's always good to say, oh, I have God in my life, and I also fellowship with people that, that God has brought into my life. So I feel like it's important to have both.
Well, one, the way my career is set up, I don't have time. I'm always traveling. So like on Sundays, I travel sometimes. So I don't have the time to like go to church. So that's why I think like live streaming is important.
Oh, we're gonna get into that too. Go ahead.
Yeah, live streaming is important because that allows me to fellowship from home. But I do think when you like have like your roots, and once my life is like settled down and I'm married and have kids, I do think going to church would be something I would like to do, because I would I want that sense of community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's important. You need people like around you besides family. You need people who can like lift you up. But right now, at my 10th age of 25, and I put my schedule is, live streaming is great for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with what everybody said. I mean, that combination of education and community, as you all were saying, is extremely important, because it's one thing to read like a subject matter, whether it's the Bible or a piece of writing or a piece of literature. It's another to have someone who is truly versed in that subject matter, be able to hold your hand and walk you through it a little bit and give you more of that background information and give you more context to what it is that you're reading and digesting. And then from the community perspective, again, we talked about last time how faith is so often tested, right? And so when you have that community of people that maybe have some similar experiences or have gone through the same thing that you have gone through, you all can work together to see how your faith can help persevere through that sort of situation. So I agree with what everybody said: education and community to understand, but also to have people to lift you up, like you said.
Yeah. So another follow-up question for Michael, because I know you have a family. You have twins. Yay! So with you having a family, do you think that's why you go to church more so, to bring the family, or were you doing this before?
Yeah, I mean,
you established a family and everything?
I mean, like I said, growing up in the church, it was something that was a habit that was given to you from family. But now that I've kind of taken ownership of that faith, it's more so just wanting to give my kids that same chance, that same experience, and similar to your situation, my wife works on Sundays as a chiropractor, and so when on those days where we can't have someone watch the babies because they're a little young for service just yet.
Right,
You know, we don't want too many crying, waking up, disturbing the sermon. But you know, at the end of the day, we try to do what we can to, like you say, get that fulfillment. Whether it's live streaming, whether it's maybe stepping our head into Bible study for a second, whether it's sitting on a Zoom call with the Brotherhood Chorale, right? Like getting that community is something that is very important.
Okay, all right. Not to switch gears real quick, but we were talking about family and children. How would you feel if you had children, the rest of you, and they didn't go to church? How would you feel about that?
Well, I have a daughter, so.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Great.
No, it's okay. It's okay. And yeah, just in my head, I'm thinking like, I have to start going to church more because I feel like I wouldn't be doing my service if I was just like, oh, we not, like, there is a God, but I'm not about to teach you about it. We're not going to go to church. We're not going to, you know, like, no, we're going to go to church.
Okay.
I'm going to do my due diligence. And, you know, hopefully as she gets older, as I did, she will start to grow her faith and things like that. So, no, we're going to church.
Asia, earlier you had mentioned that live streaming is better for you in your schedule.
Yeah.
Right now, it works for you. So this will be my next question to, of course, everyone. Why is this generation more inclined, you think, to live stream church services rather than participate in person? Why do you think that is?
I can answer that. We're lazy.
I was going to say,
We are
I didn't want to be too
lazy.
harsh.
Very lazy.
I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to, like, it's too much. I'm lazy. No, I can literally not brush my teeth, not wash my face, put it on, stream, share it onto my TV, and.
But is it the same though? Do you get the same?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, it is?
For me, it is.
Okay, what about you, Kevin?
Because it's so convenient to a generation like us where commuting or waking up really early on the weekends isn't our primary goal. It's more about just being there. And if that's being there on live stream, ACOG.com or Facebook or YouTube, that will fulfill us. And I think also it takes away the extra points that you feel like you get by going to the physical church, because we also are taught that the church is just a building. So God is with you wherever you are, and this is something that we're trying to apply with streaming.
Okay.
So I see what she's saying. Yeah, like sometimes I'm just totally out of it, and then also I still see how streaming is effective enough for you to still get what you're getting, whether you're there in person or not.
Okay. What about you, Amber? Have you live streamed before?
It's actually funny because I live streamed last Sunday and I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. Like I feel like I need to be there. Like I was distracted by other things. Like it's a TV and I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna go on Instagram or I'm gonna sit to the side and like do something else. Like I wasn't engaged and focused. So I don't know, but also to the fact like as far as COVID goes, I feel like we all had that thing where it's like, oh, I can do this at home. Like, I don't need to go to church to do this or things like that. And then also, I've had conversations with people and they've kind of talked about the fact that they don't feel comfortable going to church. For the people that are in there. It's like, girl, you ain't been to church in how long? Like, so they don't feel like going back into the building. So I don't know if that's why.
Judgment thing you're saying?
Yeah, like they're getting judged by how long they've been out of church, maybe what they're wearing. I don't know. I didn't go deep into detail, but I've heard I don't want to go into the church because of what people might say to me.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So they'd rather stay at home
And live stream, but it doesn't work for me. I'm not feeling it.
You mentioned the pandemic, right? You know, there were some students that did really well with online learning, right? And there were other students that didn't do well with online learning, right? So it's really about what your learning style is, right? If you're the type of person that can receive that education, like we were talking about before, that word electronically, then that's a medium that works perfectly well for you. But if you're someone who needs that more immersive, almost tactile sensation, well, then being in person is something that is more of a requirement for your learning style. And again, that's where I really don't have a preference. It's just really about what you need in the moment and what you need for yourself. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm getting two sides of the spectrum here. I see it works for some, but maybe not for all.
Yeah.
And you guys have all done it, tried it, live stream.
Yeah, love it.
And there's also other pastors you might be privy to. Like I know I like TD Jakes.
Oh, yeah, and that's what I do. Yeah.
Pastor Mike Todd, and it's a lot of others that I like, and that also teaches me how to stream and say, oh, I could get the message, and then you go back to your own, and then you say, oh, okay, I got you, Brazier, or I got you. You know,
being fair to our generation, right? Like even though technology makes things more convenient, like you were saying, technology also asks more of us and our responsibilities. Like now our jobs have literally 24-hour access to us, right? Before, you think about 25 years ago, 5 o'clock, you were off the clock. Now, you know, it doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday, Friday, you're still gonna get that Microsoft Teams message.
I was just gonna say that.
So, you know, it is a different, environment that we're in where our energy is so much more taxed that we look for convenience almost at our costs. And sometimes including with our faith, we look for convenience.
See, yep.
Okay, I agree with that. Okay, so what is your perspective of witnessing? And is it hard to witness? Like you guys all, you know, some people have revelations or God did this for me, God did that for me. I get that. For anybody else?
I think I definitely use a lot of what people probably think is totally okay in my life, but they don't understand the details. So just losing my parents, both before 30. One at age 5, one at age 28. And also just having a sibling structure where I'm the youngest and 7 of us, so how do all of us keep intact? So things like that where then people draw certain perspectives of me or of the situation, like how did you, all of them didn't go to school but you. And then that's when I start to draw the conclusions of God and the Holy Spirit and who He sent and the things I ignored and the lessons I had to learn through relationships. So just kind of making sure to use what I know what people see first. And telling them what really is going on behind the scenes.
Interesting. Okay. So lessons you had to learn first.
Yes.
Through your relationships.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of piggyback off that. I think that it really helps, like when I've had people come to me and be like, how did you get through that? Or how did that happen? And like, it's not jealousy. It's just like, how come you did that and I can't do this?
Right.
And I have to sometimes say like, I prayed about it. I asked God about it. I talked to Him about it. He didn't give it to me when I wanted it, but He came through when I needed Him to.
And do you think people understand that when you respond that way?
I think I have made people grow their faith from saying that. I don't know if that's good or bad. Like you had to be in this situation before you actually reached out to Him. But I have people be like, yeah, you know what? I'm starting to pray. I'm starting to talk to God about it. Or when friends come to me about certain issues, I'll say, you need to pray about that. You need to ask Him about it. So I think just people seeing Him shine through me sometimes can help them be like, okay, you know what? Maybe I do need to talk to Him a little more, grow my relationship a little more. So I think that's how people kind of like witness. You know?
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like we're talking also a little bit about evangelism, right? Like, and how do you evangelize your faith? How do you explain your faith to a person that may not completely understand it or may come from a different perspective? And again, we talked about this before. It goes, I think the interfaith model is a really good example of people who, regardless of what their faith background is, they have a genuine belief in it, but still can come together and have conversations, disagreements, or agreements around their faith in order to solve or accomplish a common goal, right? And that's the way I really truly look at it, is that I can talk with anybody from any background because I come from a place of respect.
I love that. Okay. So what more do you think Christians can do to share the gospel and the goodness of Jesus Christ? What more do you think we can do as Christians to do that?
I don't think we should be afraid to like speak on like our difficult times. I know a lot of times when we're going through hard things or through dark times, we kind of hold it in and we don't speak about it until afterwards.
Why do you think you hold it in? Or why do you think people hold it in?
I don't know if it's like embarrassment or shame or just, you know, like it's a dark time and you really just don't want to talk about it, you know? I think as Christians, you know, when we speak to others and open ourselves up to that, we allow other people to help you. You allow people to bless you.
Okay. All right. What about you guys over here? What more do you think you can do to share?
I think kind of not being afraid to just have these conversations or uncomfortable conversations about our faith or about our religion or how we feel about God, because I think sometimes people like tense up. You know how they always say at work you're not supposed to talk about your religion, at work you're not supposed to talk about faith.
Religion, politics.
None of that. You're supposed to leave that. But I find myself, because I work with students, so I'm definitely, that's like a no-no.
Right.
But I'll find myself talking to a student and they'll bring it up and I'll be like, ooh, okay, let's talk about it, girl. Let's get into it. So I think like having those conversations, even with people who may not believe, who may not have faith, or somebody you see going through a hard time, I think it's really important that as Christians we do step up and, say something, pray for them, even if they're not believing, bring them to church, invite them to, maybe if it's not actual Sunday service, maybe it's something fun that the church is doing, and get them engaged. So that's how I feel about that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I like what everyone said. I think it comes down to a certain level of humility, right? Being willing to laugh, being willing to have conversations, being willing to, talk about uncomfortable situations. Yeah, like I said, it's just really not judging, because whenever you're someone who judges, people are very happy to see you fall when you judge, right? And people are very happy to see when you're wrong, right? So if you can come from a place of, again, respect and lack of judgment, well, now you open those doors, you build more bridges to a productive conversation around faith.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Well, guys, this was great, and there will be more conversations on many subject matters like this throughout the year. So stay tuned. I want to thank Dr. Brazier for this great program, our amazing panelists, and again, thank you for watching today. See you next time on The Question of Truth. God bless.
We hope that you have enjoyed the Apostolic Church of God and this Saving Grace broadcast. We hope you were blessed, and we invite you to stay connected online and visit us in the near future here at 6320 South Dorchester in Chicago.